name's Caleb Voortman, and this is a look at the concept of katabasis in film. First up, what is katabasis? Katabasis is, in its traditional sense, a journey into the underworld. This journey is usually taken up by the hero of a story as they venture into the unknown or dangerous chaos in an attempt to rescue or retrieve something, restore order, or become stronger in some way. The concept is what Joseph Campbell describes as descent. In his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, Campbell draws attention to the similarities between many of the stories that have both survived the test of time, as well as new renditions or modern retellings that once again draw out the idea of the hero from classical antiquity. The title of the book relates to the fact that there are countless stories that follow in the same formula. This formula gave rise to the concept of the hero's journey, an archetypal story structure dating back millennia that permeates much of the media that we still consume today. I want to explore that journey, and in particular, I want to focus on the descent. So, without further ado, take it away, Ern.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
So, let's break down that journey into its composite parts, and who better to lead the way than the father of modern fantasy, J.R.R. Tolkien. The first step is the call to adventure. This is where the hero is presented with a challenge or goal that they must accomplish, though there is often some obstacle standing in their way. Next up is the aid, someone that helps the hero. This often takes the form of an older or authoritative figure, one who's seen what's out there in the world and is able to offer the hero either advice or direct support as they head towards the threshold. This is where the story truly begins. It's where the old life is left behind, and in order to survive, the hero must confront the need to change. Various challenges and obstacles will pop up in front of the hero during this period. Chief among them would be the temptation to give in and accept failure in their quest. This can manifest itself in a rejection of responsibility, or by an inability to continue on the path to change. Then, we have the abyss. Death and rebirth, the belly of the beast. This is the lowest point the character encounters. It is the moment where all they have is stripped away and they are left bare. In order to transcend this loss, the hero must find something else to keep them going. It could be a relationship, a new power or weapon, or even the reformulation of previously accepted lies in order to gain a level of enlightenment. The Fellowship of the Ring presents several clear beats to this story structure. First, we see the One Ring as the call to adventure. In fact, several times throughout the film, the ring will literally call out to Frodo in order to enact change. Safe within his home at Bag End, Frodo accepts the need to leave his current situation in order to take the ring out of the Shire and meet with his mentor Gandalf at the Prancing Pony. Yet before Frodo and his companion Sam have even left the Shire, they encounter their first adversary, the monstrous Nazgul. The Ringwraith's presence in the Shire itself is no mere accident, for change has already started within Frodo's world that forces him to realise that his home is no longer safe. After a few more close encounters, we reach another precipice where Frodo takes on the task to fully accept the quest and endeavours to destroy the ring.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
While there are several points during the film that one could argue the descent takes place, I would say that chief among them would be the Fellowship's literal descent into the Mines of Moria. The mines themselves carry several themes from classical Katabasis. Firstly, the gates are presided over by a guardian. The realm itself is one of the dead, and perhaps most importantly, once the threshold has been passed, there is no going back.
We now have but one choice. We must face the long dark of Moria.
As we follow the Fellowship into the mines, we are led once again by the mentoring figure of Gandalf. At this point in the story, Gandalf's presence as a mentor has served its purpose, and, as the hero, Frodo's development must now undertake its own growth as the connection to his mentor is severed.
No!
Transcending his lowest point in the film, the next scene shows that despite the loss, Frodo remains stoic towards his quest, as he starts to realize that perhaps the weight of the ring is something that he will have to bear alone. The true depth of this transformation reveals itself later, when Frodo decides that for the safety of the Fellowship, he must undertake the task alone. As we all know, however, this does not go according to plan, as Samwise follows Frodo, citing his promise to Gandalf that he would protect him as an absolute. While it may initially seem that this is simply the strength of Sam's character, it does in fact hint at a greater significance. Indeed, Sam's very presence has always been that of a reminder of home. His incorruptible nature and steadfast loyalty are an expression of the very ideals that Frodo is fighting for. Sam serves as a very literal reminder of why Frodo must accomplish his goal. One of the most interesting concepts explored in the movie Inception relates to Carl Jung's posit, "People don't have ideas, ideas have people." In the film, we see the reality of this concept played out through the presence of Dominic Cobb's wife, Moll. Central to the film is this notion that ideas are infectious.
What is the most resilient parasite? A bacteria? A virus? An intestinal worm? An idea?
Rather than the Katabasis expressing itself through a literal descent like that in the Mines of Moria, we instead enter the world of the subconscious. While the stakes within the film might not reach the height of complete destruction under the rule of a Dark Lord, Inception instead depicts a far more intimate story, one that explores the idea of loss and acceptance. Like the Greek tragedies of old, much of Cobb's predicament is one that is self-made. As an audience, we learn that his reckless pursuit of how far shared dreaming could be taken results in Moll's disconnect from reality. While his initial attempt to save her may appear to work, the true Moll died in the dream. His attempts to comfort her or bring her back into the real world only served to alienate her further, as she was faced with a reality that was no longer her own. Moll's rejection of reality serves to further Cobb's own madness, until her cognitive death is punctuated with her suicide. As the film continues, it is revealed that far from accepting her death, Cobb's failure drags a perverted version of his once loving wife out of his subconscious and pits her memory against the goals of his team.
Should be here.
To return to Carl Jung, we can see how the fear and regret Cobb harbors for his past actions manifests themselves in this new, warped version of Moll.
You promised! Please, I need you to stay here just for now. You said we'd be together! You said we'd grow old together!
I'll come back for you. I promise.
While the audience only ever sees the jealous and aggressive side of her, we know from Ariadne and Arthur's conversation that this was not always the case.
What you see in there is just his projection of her.
What was she like in real life?
She was lovely.
In this way, the Jungian depiction of the ideologically possessed manifests itself within Moll, who bears all the weight of Cobb's self-loathing. It is only when Cobb faces the reality of his actions, and, descending into the underworld of the subconscious where he is surrounded by the ruined buildings of his dead dream world, that he decides to face his demons. It is through this last confrontation with Moll that he finally finds closure, and through that transcendent action, the power to fulfill his mission, and ultimately, return to the life he had lost. For our last film, I instead want to look at just a particular scene from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, to explore how the beats of the Underworld descent work. As Harry is about to claim victory in the Triwizard Cup with fellow student Cedric Diggory, we see them transported into the Little Hangleton graveyard. Like the Mines of Moria and the world of the subconscious, here we are met with another motif of death. As if to accentuate this point, the grave from which the reagents for the Dark Lord Voldemort's resurrection are taken is presided over by a statue of the Grim Reaper, Death incarnate. Here, Harry is suddenly thrust into chaos as Cedric is promptly murdered in front of him. This death severs the last remains of his connection to the past, and in the series, this is the moment that cleaves it in two. Before, the whimsical exploration of life in a magical school, and after, the constant threat and fear of a corrupting and evil force. The exact moment that Harry crosses this threshold can be seen here. When confronted with his own death, rather than cower and hide, he faces his opponent head-on. Similar to the Buddhist tale of Prince Five Weapons, the Beast, in Harry's case Voldemort, is surprised by the hero's willingness to confront his enemy with reckless abandon. As the tale of Prince Five Weapons reads, there is a hidden aspect of power that resides inside the prince, an incorruptible form of power whose destruction will guarantee the mutual death of his opponent. In the case of Prince Five Weapons, this power is knowledge. In Harry's, it is love. Just as Prince Five Weapons reveals the ideals of early Buddhist culture, so does Rowling's depiction of love reveal our own modern values. As the scene progresses, this love is the very power that allows Harry to survive. Aided by the Fallen, Harry is able to make his escape from certain death and return to Hogwarts. Upon that return, Harry is bestowed with a gift that he did not bargain for, the knowledge of Voldemort's return.
He's back! He's back! Voldemort's back! Cedric, he asked me to bring his body back.
Harry's discovery would later lead his own mentor, Dumbledore, to seek out a method of destroying Voldemort's power forever, an endeavour similar to that of many other heroes. Harry's eventual triumph over Voldemort occurs in much the same way. With no other option, Harry once again faces his enemy head-on, willing to sacrifice his own life in order to defeat evil. While the descent into the Underworld manifests itself in a myriad of different settings and goals, the underlying motif of confronting the unknown remains a constant among the many challenges faced by the archetypal hero. From theatre drama to the silver screen, the story of the hero is one that still strikes a chord in the hearts of us all, no matter what face they wear. The legends of Achilles, Odysseus, Hercules, and Jason are retold and reborn, armed with Mjolnir, lightsabers, and adamantine claws. Dragons and demons forego fire for bullets, and the terrors of Hades find new life in the Death Star. The story of the hero has remained at the forefront of culture for all of human history. Their bravery in the face of insurmountable odds serves as an inspiration to us all, daring us to do better.